Photoshop me out in real life. The documentation would show a harmonious family gathering without the inconvenient truth of their treatment toward one family member. The photographer suggested several different poses and groupings to provide variety for their social media posts and family albums. He captured candid moments between shots when family members relaxed slightly and showed more genuine expressions. Their laughter seemed authentic during these brief intervals when they forgot about maintaining perfect appearances for the camera. The professional knew how to balance posed portraits with natural moments that would tell a complete visual story. The session concluded with individual shots of Madison surrounded by different combinations of family members. She posed with parents, then cousins, then extended relatives, creating multiple images that would fill her social media feeds for weeks. Each photograph reinforced her position as the family's undisputed star while systematically excluding any evidence of siblings who failed to meet their standards for documentation. Family members dispersed after the final flash with satisfied expressions and immediate discussions about which photos would receive priority posting on various social platforms. They compared camera angles and debated filtering options that would enhance their appearance in the final images. Their excitement about sharing these curated moments revealed the true purpose behind the elaborate photo session. The devastating realization settled over me like a heavy blanket soaked in ice water. This erasure wasn't accidental or oversight caused by the chaos of party planning. The exclusion was deliberate and calculated, designed to create a visual narrative that supported their preferred version of family dynamics. They had made a conscious choice to document their celebration without acknowledging my existence or contribution to its success. The photographer packed his equipment while family members returned to their champagne consumption and guest conversations. Nobody mentioned the obvious gap in their family portraits or questioned the wisdom of excluding a daughter from her sister's birthday documentation. Their ability to compartmentalize uncomfortable situations and continue performing happiness showed years of practice maintaining appearances regardless of underlying dysfunction. I untied my apron strings with hands that shook slightly from accumulated emotion and exhaustion. And just when I thought this was the ultimate erasure, the real breaking point was still to come. The breaking point arrived with the clarity of a lightning strike illuminating a dark landscape. Standing in that marble kitchen surrounded by industrial equipment and professional catering supplies, I finally understood the truth that had been hiding in plain sight for years. The grocery store cupcake sitting beside me like a consolation prize told me everything I needed to know about my value in this family's carefully constructed hierarchy. I fumbled out of the apron, grabbed my keys, and slipped away while my brain processed the accumulated evidence of systematic exclusion that had defined this entire evening. The fabric had knotted itself during hours of serving, but I managed to work free from my uniform of humiliation. I folded the offensive apron and placed it on the kitchen counter next to the abandoned cupcake, creating a visual statement that nobody would probably notice or understand. My family continued their performance in the main living areas, completely oblivious to my emotional state or growing resolve to escape this toxic situation. The professional catering staff continued their efficient work without missing a beat, proving that my contribution had been entirely unnecessary from the beginning. Nobody seemed to notice or care that their designated server had disappeared from circulation. The exit strategy required avoiding the ongoing photo session near the fireplace, where the family was still posing for individual shots with Madison. Their focus on capturing perfect images provided ideal cover for my quiet departure. I needed to retrieve my purse from the coat closet near the front entrance without drawing attention from guests or family members. The professional servers glanced at me curiously as I moved through the kitchen area without carrying trays or performing obvious work duties. One woman who had tried to help me earlier with serving techniques caught my eye and nodded slightly like she understood something significant was happening. Her expression carried sympathy mixed with professional discretion, suggesting she had witnessed similar family dysfunction during other upscale catering events. My steps felt lighter with each move away from the service area toward the mansion's front entrance. The weight of accumulated resentment and disappointment began lifting from my shoulders as I walked through the marble foyer past clusters of wealthy guests who had treated me like invisible furniture throughout the evening. My heart pounded as I passed the crystal chandelier, knowing I was moments away from freedom. The coat closet yielded my purse and car keys without difficulty, though I half expected some final obstacle to prevent my escape from this emotional prison disguised as a family celebration. My hand shook slightly as I checked for my phone and wallet, confirming I had everything necessary to drive away from people who had never valued my presence. The simple act of reclaiming my personal belongings felt symbolic of reclaiming my dignity and self-respect. The front door opened silently, allowing me to slip outside into the cool evening air without alerting anyone to my departure. The professional photographer was still working with my family, creating their perfect visual memories, while I walked across the gravel driveway toward my modest Honda Civic, parked between luxury SUVs. The contrast between my practical vehicle and their expensive status symbols no longer bothered me, because I finally understood that different priorities had created different outcomes. No one even glanced up as I left. The family remained completely absorbed in their photo session and guest entertainment without noticing that their unpaid server had quietly quit the worst job of her life. Their obliviousness to my emotional state and departure confirmed every suspicion I developed about their capacity for genuine concern or empathy. The car engine started with reassuring reliability while party sounds continued drifting from the mansion's open windows. I sat in the driver's seat for several moments, processing the emotional significance of this departure and the surprising sense of liberation that was replacing my earlier hurt and confusion. Walking away from toxic people felt easier than I had expected once I accepted that their treatment reflected their limitations rather than my worth. The road away from the lake house felt different during my exit drive compared to my anxious arrival hours earlier. Trees that had seemed ominous and foreboding now appeared peaceful and protective, creating a natural barrier between me and the toxic environment I was leaving behind. My death grip on the steering wheel had relaxed into comfortable control as emotional tension drained from my muscles with each mile of distance. The freedom that comes with finally accepting your family's limitations creates space for authentic relationships with people who actually value your presence and contributions. Years of trying to earn their approval and inclusion had prevented me from recognizing that their opinion carried no weight in determining my actual worth or future happiness. The realization felt simultaneously devastating and liberating, like grief and relief arriving at the same moment. The surprisingly liberating moment of walking away from people who never valued my presence marked the end of one chapter and the beginning of something entirely different. I wasn't running away from responsibility or commitment, but toward authentic relationships and genuine self-respect. The grocery store cupcake waiting in that industrial kitchen had accidentally revealed the truth about my position in their hierarchy and provided the clarity necessary to make this long overdue decision. The evening had cost me nothing except illusions about family bonds that had never actually existed. I drove through the winding country roads, feeling lighter than I had in years, finally free from the weight of their expectations and judgments.